There's so much talk about the metaverse right now as brands and platforms are hustling to find their place in the brave new world that's coming. Interpol, Nike, and Nokia are just a few of the names you'll hear discussed today. On top of that, we've got some alleged experts opining on their biggest metaverse predictions. You can be whatever you want in a virtual world, so we choose to identify as ourselves. That's all we really know how to do as we share the latest metaverse news on episode number 643 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Love to welcome you to the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious and the crypto serious. We are the one and only metaverse morons. I guess that would be the two and only.
Nah,
morons.
The one and only two.
See what I did?
I'd love to buy the world of Coke. To keep
Metavi.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, talk about one of the best endings of a television show ever. Did you watch Mad Men?
I watched some episodes. I did not watch the end of Mad Men.
Oh my gosh! As a marketer, it is must watch television drama. I think I've seen it through 2 or 3 times now. And spoiler alert: if you haven't watched it by now, here comes the spoiler. The very end, we discover that Don Draper, in a huge comeback, one of the greatest comebacks ever in advertising, it was the creator of the "I'd like to buy the world a Coke" campaign.
Okay.
That nice. It was such a beautiful ending.
Nice how they tied that together.
It was absolutely perfect. Anyway, welcome to the show, gang. Today we're going to talk about the metaverse. Is there just one? Are there several? Does anybody really know? A lot going on in the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So usually we would go into the news around what's going on Coingecko. If you are just now tuning in, go to Coingecko and take a look for yourself, because we're going to jump in to this article here on Kotaku around Will Wright. He is making a metaverse NFT game on the blockchain, and I remember his last big game that he did was Spore. I remember playing Spore back in the day. And then he's done Sims. Will Wright has done some great stuff. And my brother's actually, his name is William Wright, but it's a different one.
Different guy. So SimCity was the initial, and we're talking about 25 years or so ago. It came out on the Apple Macintosh. It came out on PC. It was a huge hit. It was the first true world building success simulator game that you would have out there. And it was amazing. Of course, it led to SimCity in 3D, and then The Sims, which is one of the most successful franchises of gaming of all time. And now he's working with our friends over at Galley Games in the Voxverse, and he's building a game with them that is going to be very metaverse friendly.
Yeah. What's interesting about this game here is that it's designed at a place called Gallium Studios by Wright and Carmen Sandiego's co-founder, creator, Lauren Elliott. And so it looks like Gala has funded this by about $25 million into this Voxverse. And they are going to be, so right now it's like he's distancing himself from NFTs. He doesn't want to be in the business of selling NFTs, but he wants to have secure transactions for content creators, which are NFTs. And I think that NFTs in some ways have a bad rap. That's because people are thinking about them only as collectibles and not access and utility. But that will change over time as this space keeps evolving.
Did anybody ever get the answer to the question, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Well, she kept moving, Joel. She was in different places.
She's with Waldo. That's the real story. Like you do. It'd be great if there was this adult Where's Waldo, and he's in a hotel room and you could see that in the window in the bed with him is Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, like where I found both of them. You're not even gonna believe this. So Waldo Had Carmen been on, I couldn't even believe it. I can't even believe what I just saw, Joel.
We're gonna reach out to see if we can get Will on the Nifty Show, because would love to speak to him as one of the legends of gaming, both console and computer gaming.
Mhm.
He's probably got some fascinating takes. I think that I've got some Vox from Gala from the very first release that they did, and all of their Vox, whether they're Walking Dead or any of that, they just released the Trolls. Can you hear them out there doing my lawn right now?
Yeah, there we
It's
go.
like perfect timing. Come on,
Joel's
hey
getting his lawn
guys,
done.
come do my lawn now. Like, don't
No,
do
no,
it.
no. That's the sound of the metaverse, is what I heard, Joel.
That is the sound of the metaverse. All right, so let's jump over to the next story, because Interpol is officially coming into the metaverse. I'm going to mute myself while you talk about this, and hopefully they'll finish doing my grass.
Yeah, so Interpol, for those of you who don't know, that is the International Criminal Police Organization. And I think it has some other, it's probably International Police is what it stands for. And so they are going to start working out there into the metaverse. They're going to create a digital twin and then start getting into the metaverse because they want to arrest cyber criminals. There's people who are out there doing rug pulls and making it bad for people. There was a lot of hacks happening, and so what financial damage is happening, but there's also some sexual harassment stuff that's happening. They want to keep pedophilia out of there. So in a sense, they're going to go this to try to make the metaverse a safe zone. However, I don't know if Interpol has met a lot of these degens yet. I would say good luck with keeping it all policey, but they're trying to go in here and regulate some of this stuff. And the executive director of technology and innovation for them says that the metaverse will have an enormous impact on the law enforcement sector. So they're trying to get ahead of that, Joel.
Just like you don't know if you're talking to stranger danger in the metaverse, you could be talking to a special agent as well. So, just be cool out there. Don't be a douchebag. That's really all you need to know in life, is don't be a douchebag. Don't do bad things to other
Yeah.
people. Do good stuff. That's
Hey,
it.
would you like to buy this NFT of cocaine? It's for your avatar. Oh, I'm arrested. Oh, no. I sold an undercover Interpol guy some fake metaverse cocaine. Oh,
Which
I'm
is
the
actually not classified at all. So,
I love it.
so Nokia is one of the big names that is looking at the metaverse, and their take is that the metaverse is going to replace smartphones. I mean, look, we went from wired phones, landline phones, to car phones that in the beginning were wired, to wireless brick phones, to BlackBerry sidekicks, trios, to
Motorola's flip
smartphones.
cones, those little
Uh-huh.
flip phones, yeah.
To smart, now what are smartphones, and of course everybody's looking towards the future, because a lot of people they're wearing their phones, right, with like an Apple Watch or some other device, and these things, hey, they're bulky, they take up all
Mhm.
kinds of space, and perhaps the future is AR, where everything is in your glasses, your whole computer is right there, and you just kind of wink over here and it pulls up
I
the little
don't know that
menu.
that's going to happen at first. I think what'll happen probably first is you're going to have you're going to keep your smartphone, but it's going to be in
Mhm,
your pocket, and
mhm.
your augmented reality glasses, most likely from Apple, are going to be tethered to your iPhone. If you have an Android, you're probably not going to be able to use the Apple glasses as effectively. So that will be, and then it'll use AirDrop or whatever else that it does to connect, Bluetooth to connect, and you're going to be able to use those glasses through your phone, and then you'll probably have hand gestures that you can use to move things around, so you don't actually have to pull your phone out. So those days of people pulling their phone out 150 times a day, probably not going to be as relevant if they have AR goggles or glasses that they're using. And they got to be light, Joel. They can't be those really big heavy ones, because then it's
Right.
like it's just not good on your head. And some of those, like the Oculus stuff, they're still kind of big right now.
It's good for chiropractors, though. They like it because they're like, oh, they got to come for more adjustments, because you're not supposed to be wearing something this heavy on your head and it's messing up your neck. And
Right,
so you got to
right.
come in and get popped and all that. It is going to take time, as we discussed on a recent news episode. Everything is moving slower. Whenever you have these exciting new technologies, the pioneers are excited to kind of, hey, let's move this along. Early adopters, they're playing with it and they want to bring their family and friends into it. But corporate world is very slow to move, because there's a lot of money on the line in this, and they want to make sure they do it right. They want to make sure they're not the example that fails first and wait for others to get involved. But Nokia sees this as a big deal. They're not the only ones. Nike it has moved full on, right? Because they purchased Artifact, RTFKT.com design studio that's had multiple successful projects released, and digital sneakers are now a real thing. And you're going to have digital twins of all kinds of apparel that are owned by Nike, the NFTs that you can wear in the metaverse, and then the physical apparel that you can wear IRL.
Yeah, and if you check about this, I mean, there's been some really interesting things that have launched. So Nike, they launched the NFT series starting with its Crypto Kicks. That was 20,000 NFTs. One of them sold for $135,000 essentially. They've made $185 million so far in NFT sale revenue, right? But then if you look at the data here on this, Adidas, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Tiffany, they have collectively all generated less than half of that. So there's something that Nike is doing that they're figuring it out. They're figuring out this space, even though I don't know how much they spent on the Artifact acquisition because they've never fully said it. But they're looking to seriously grow their revenue overall. And then what's funny though, if I'm looking at this, they've earned 185 million in NFTs, which is pretty high, which sounds like wow. But their total projected revenue this year is $46.7 billion.
Well, and right there, part of the secret of their success is they found a successful NFT Web3 studio that already had an audience that aligned with their values and acquired them. I don't believe that has happened from Adidas, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, and Tiffany. Right, they're all playing on their own, so they're coming at it like, hey, we're a known brand and we're somebody and we're just going to go sell our people NFTs. Nike came in to NFTs through the back door. There was already a loyal audience at Artifact, and they said, these guys, we feel them. They get the vibe of what we're doing. We understand what they're doing. Let's get married. And that's what happened. And it's plain as day to see it. And I think that other brands that want to get into the Web3 space need to be looking for projects that are successful right now that they can partner with or acquire to make it their own. In my humble opinion.
I like that. Yeah, you're right on. And then so think about it like this too. It's like, so Nike's spending time, they're trying to get people's attention. And even people like Netflix, he said something like this back in 2019. He says, we compete and lose to Fortnite more than HBO, right? I think of it as us winning time, entertainment time from other activities. So it's not just Nike in some ways is not just competing against other shoe companies. They're going to be competing against other people in the metaverse space. They're going to be competing against Fortnite and some of these other ones. But in some ways, it's not a direct competition with them because it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, right? So I really like what Nike has been doing, and I think that it should be interesting as this space evolves, this metaverse space evolves, and people start doing more things in the space, where it's going to be overall. I can't wait to see.
And I think the point is made really well in this article, which we encourage you to go read. It is linked in the show notes along with all the articles from this episode. You can go to badco.in/643, and then you can read this analysis here about.
I do love this. It's great, Joel. It says this. It goes, the swoosh did not seem to compete to make the same mistake that Fortnite was making. So instead, Nike has embedded itself into the fabric of Web3 culture before the competition has even taken off. So they're getting in and getting entrenched early. They go, wait, this is the future. Just kind of like how we saw. We go, oh, wait, we can see that Web3 is coming and NFTs are coming. Let's get ahead of it. Nike's done the same thing, whereas a lot of companies are maybe laggards. Nike's not.
So smart, so swooshy. I don't think that anybody's getting laid off over at Artifact right now. But there are some tech companies that are facing layoffs here in the Web3 world. They're not all booming, and we are in a bear market. This is a build time, and when if you got all this money that came in from the sale of your NFT project or land or whatever, and now the value of Ethereum is below what it was, and your tokens are all down, it might be hard to keep paying people. So eventually, we're going to see stuff bounce back, but there are a lot of layoffs that are happening right now, also combined with the fact that we've got economic downturn and all kinds of craziness happening in the world.
Yeah, there's a website that our former crypto chick Rachel Wolfson, who wrote this article, talked about layoffs.fyi. You can see over different 700 startups that have been affected by this. Almost 100,000 employees have been let off from that, as Netflix and Google and Apple are doing this. But I think there's even I think there might be an error in this particular description as well. Web3 companies continue to hire amidst a bull market as tech giants undergo layoffs and free. It's a bear market. So I think they got the wrong one there, because we are in a bear market. It is not a bull market. People don't tend to, you know, lay off people in a bull market when that's running. That's when things are
That's a
going. But
cool
it's a
site,
time change.
layoffs.fyi. Let's wrap up with some predictions here. This article on, what is it? Tech. I can't read it
Tech
all because
Target,
Tech Target.
techtarget.com. Yeah.
Top 12 metaverse predictions for 2030 that they're talking about here. Let's go through these really quickly without going detail. You guys can read the article. Prediction 1, the metaverse will be big, but just how big? I'm going to say really big.
Yep. Prediction number 2, there will be multiple metaverses, which is going to trigger Joel, because there's really only one metaverse, but there are multiple worlds.
Versus.
Right.
Right?
Versus.
You got a
Yeah.
lot of little verses, and together they're a metaverse. Prediction 3, the metaverse will transform all business processes. I agree with this because people are going to be doing business in these virtual worlds, and it's going to, by virtue of that, you have to change how you do things.
hmm And you think about how security and privacy issues are going to emerge in this new space. We talked about Interpol coming in and doing things. So this should be interesting, right? So security and privacy issues are going to be an important thing to consider with the metaverse.
Prediction 5, the metaverse will expand beyond virtual showrooms. Of course they will. There are going to be, look, if you've seen Ready Player One or any of the other futuristic, sci-fi films or read the stories, you understand that the metaverse is a place where you jack in and your avatar lives almost a second life. Like Second Life predicted this, the game Second Life, that you go about your business and being with friends or family, going to events, shopping, creating. All of these things are going to happen. Virtual showrooms is just the beginning.
Yeah, and virtual mushrooms is something else too. That's different. If you have those in the metaverse, it's probably really colorful.
Wow, man.
Prediction number 6, digital twins will mirror the entire enterprise. So imagine this. I'm talking about this in my keynote that I'm giving at NFT London. Is imagine these digital twins. You're going to be able to train them. You're going to be able to basically teach this digital twin, or it's going to be able to use AI to be able to teach itself, and then can go out and teach others. So digital twins are going to be a really fascinating part of the metaverse.
Number 7, customer service and sales roles will transform and automate, just like we've seen customer service move heavily to social platforms like Twitter. You're going to be able to engage and interact with avatars from brands and businesses to have customer service. So now, instead of just yelling at a customer service rep on the phone, you'll be able to yell at their avatar in metaverse.
And be like, "You're so avatarded."
Yeah.
Prediction number 8, digital first will evolve into meta first. So imagine, as this keeps growing, mobile and social channels are going to be merging into the augmented spatial web. Spatial web is something that's really tied into all this, the AR, VR, metaverse. That's all spatial web stuff, baby.
Prediction 9, enterprises will bake reality into the metaverse. There's going to be cooking.
Well, they're probably going to want to make it look a similar look and feel. Like, here's our retail physical spot. Here's our digital metaverse spot. But then what they can realize is you don't have to be tied to regular physics. You can go way beyond and make things super extra cool. They don't have to look exactly like the real world.
Right. In fact, some of the software we've had the opportunity to see and or invest in, like Victoria VR, is photorealistic metaverse. It's not this cartoony pixelated
That's going to
thing
be
like you see
awesome
with Sandbox.
once it's ready, Joel. Once that
Once
stuff's
it's
ready,
ready.
and you're have it on, and most people can't wear it more than like 30 minutes or so, maybe 45 minutes, until you start feeling a little wonky because it's heavy, and you're looking at these pixels. So they can change that over time. Next prediction: the metaverse will consolidate technologies in a way, and start merging and bringing things together inside that. And vendors will start rebranding existing projects and pulling them into the metaverse.
I'm going to toss my prediction in there. We've already seen how Zuckerberg has spent way more money on
$15 billion.
low quality product for Meta. I think that they are going to end up doing a mea culpa, scrapping what they've built and do acquisition of somebody else's product.
Probably should have done that originally. Like,
Should have done it from the
like it first.
beginning.
Yeah.
He isn't qualified to build this. There's been others out there that have been building, and he's got this hubris that like we can do this. We've built Facebook. Zuck, you didn't even build Facebook. Okay, let's just be clear about this.
Well, the early stages, he was a great coder at one time. I think that he's probably got a big ego about what he's done. And then I look at it though, just as an by the way, Facebook. You look at Facebook and you look at Google, and who was the investment arms in those? Those are CIA backed. Those are initiatives that were backed by the CIA VC firms. You can find that information out, and then you go realize, like, are these a tool of tracking of us? In a lot of ways, yeah. So I don't want to be in a metaverse that can track me in the way that, because I got the goggles on and stuff. So it's like, it really is unfortunate that Facebook owns Oculus. I wish somebody else owned Oculus.
I do too, because I really like my Oculus. I love playing Beat Saber, and I don't spend nearly as much time in my Oculus as I thought I would. To be candid, I thought that I would spend more time in it, but you know what? I just totally off topic. I bought a Steam Deck. Steam is owned by Valve. It's the biggest marketplace for PC gaming, apart from Epic, which is Fortnite, and just thousands of games on there, and they've done really well. And they released a game console unit that's about yay big, and it's got all your regular controls on it. And basically, it's like having your PC with the games that you play on your PC in your hand. Which is what
that's really nice.
Gamers have wanted all along. It's like, yes, I can play on my big 40-inch screen here, but I want to sit on the sofa and I want to play.
It's sort of Nintendo-esque, right? Where you can kind of switch and kind of swap it out. And I do like VR, and I noticed that whenever I first got VR, when I first discovered VR porn, then it's like, what's this Beat Saber and stuff you're talking about? I don't even know what that is.
Well, I think there's a version of Beat Saber in.
That's right. It's different. It's VR porn Beat Saber. You got to jack in.
Oh my boy! You just left that one wide open. Because if you got to jack in, you could also jack. Never mind.
Jack.
Thank you for suffering along with me on this episode of the Bad Crypto Podcast. We're glad that you guys are along for the ride. Please do take a moment. Just stop whatever you're doing right now, which is listening to the show. Hit pause. And then while you hit pause, or if you can multitask, go and give us a review. Go to iTunes. We'd love if you leave us a 5-star review. That's how they determine what podcast to recommend to other people. So if you enjoyed the show, then let us know and let the rest of the world know.
Please, please, please. It's the Halloween holiday season. Halloween is past. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. You're going to see a lot of friends. You're going to see a lot of family. And when you talk to them, tell them about Bad Crypto. Ask them if they subscribe to it, because we're entertaining. We like to crack jokes. We like to educate you so you think for yourself on this stuff. So help think for your friends and have them connect with us. And
help think for your friends.
Help think for your friends.
Help your friends think for themselves by thinking for them and telling them to stay back.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor. I think.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Wait a second. If you jack in, you got to jack out. That's what it is.
That's what it is. In and out.
Yeah.
because otherwise you'd be jacking on if you were
Yeah,
going to
and the
jack
other one,
off.
yeah, I don't know if that works. That doesn't
Didn't
work,
didn't
especially
how
not in the metaverse. Maybe that's why there's Interpol to police that shit. Stay back.
do they have intercourse in Interpol?
I don't know. They probably do, but they don't mention it live.